Welcome into WagerTalk TV. I am Drew Martin, joined by Tony Finn and Rob Vino of WagerTalk.com. We're talking Saturday college football. Robbie, coming to you first. We get Notre Dame and Wisconsin, neutral site game, Soldier Field. This is going to be a fun one, Robbie. College game day and everything. 12 noon on Fox. We're seeing Wisconsin minus 6.5-point favorites. Low total here, Robbie, 46.5. What are you thinking with the Badgers and the Irish?
Well, I think a couple of things here, Drew. First of all, Wisconsin's in off a bye week, which is huge. 2 weeks to get ready for Notre Dame. Wisconsin had a pretty good outing their second time around, although they should have against Eastern Michigan, but they were dominant in that game after the Penn State loss. I think your biggest storyline here has to be Notre Dame quarterback Jack Cohn. I guess heading into the game, you're trying to handicap it. You want to bet it. You maybe trying to figure out whether or not Jack Cohn has the advantage here of having been Wisconsin's quarterback last year and played against the Wisconsin first-team defense. Does he know them in a way that he can sort of take advantage and get some yardage for Notre Dame? Or does the advantage lie on the other side of the field with defensive coordinator Jim Leonhard, who knows this quarterback, doesn't necessarily know the pieces that he quarterbacks now, but he certainly knows the tendencies of Jack Cohn. So that's probably more of a 2020 hindsight thing. I think when you get to matchups here, Drew, the biggest one will probably be Notre Dame's offensive line, which has been troublesome all season long so far against the Wisconsin front seven, which has been dominant. Notre Dame had trouble one more time last week running the football against Purdue. Not necessarily a stout defensive front. Good pass rushing off the edges, but not necessarily stout in the middle. If you take out the 51-yard touchdown run by Kyron Williams with 6 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, in that game, it was 102 degrees on the field. So you could say that with 6 minutes left, Purdue is pretty well worn out. Kyron Williams goes 51 yards. If you take out of the Notre Dame rushing yardage, you wind up with 29 carries for 91 yards. 3.1 per carry against Purdue. It's just not good enough. It wasn't good enough against Toledo. It wasn't good enough against FSU, and none of these defenses are Wisconsin. So I think that Notre Dame might have a little bit of trouble here when it comes to rushing the football. Remember, Wisconsin only allowed Penn State with a dual threat quarterback, only 63 true rushing yards in that game. And even if they're successful opening up a couple of holes, guys, pass protection's been just as big of a problem for this offensive line. Notre Dame's allowed 15 sacks in 3 weeks. Once again, Purdue, Toledo, Florida State, 15 sacks, 5 a game. Not great. Wisconsin's been good at dominating possession time against Penn State, plus 24 minutes, 48 seconds of possession. That's huge. Against Eastern Michigan, over a 20-minute edge. So far this season, Wisconsin's run 170 plays from scrimmage in 2 games. Their opponents, 89. Wisconsin just dominating right now up front. I think it's going to be tough for Notre Dame here. Jack Cohn missed a lot of wide-open receivers last week. If he does that here against this defense, they'll turn into picks. I can see the slight movement towards Wisconsin. They've got situational edges. I think they've got fundamental edges. Brian Kelly said his team's very young last week, and they learned a little bit of a lesson, some growing pains against Purdue. But I just don't think they're ready for this one. So even though the stands may be a little 50-50, I don't know how the ticket allotment goes. It's a Wisconsin home game, but in Chicago, we know we'll see a lot of blue and gold fans. So fans might be the best advantage Notre Dame has here. I like Wisconsin minus the points in that game.
All right, good stuff, Robbie. And Tony, coming to you next. Do you agree with Robbie Vino here in terms of the Badgers being the side?
Well, I'll give you that answer after I see the final score. But the truth is, you know, when this game was scheduled, first off, guys, I'm quite certain that both programs would probably been willing to flip a coin to see which of the two would host, as opposed to playing this on a neutral field. And in truth, this is much more of a home game for the Irish and the Badgers, just demographically. I don't know how the seats have been allotted, but I'm sure that Wisconsin will travel well here. But I digress. To the game. The adage that the wise man shouldn't overreact to what his lying eyes has seen, what his ears have or his eyes have read. and his ears have heard, while the box score handicapper is still confused. I mean, there's two Power 5 tradition-rich programs. What they've done in September, at least in my orbit, has been confusing. It's extremely difficult for me to find trends or patterns that would allow me to confidently believe that I know what each of these teams' personality is going to be a month from now. Heck, a week from now, let alone a month from now. So we apply the math and the numbers, and we do all the things that Rob and I do before games. We throw it in a wood bowl tableside and serve salads and say, how do you like this? Do you like it? Do you believe us? This is a college football game played at Soldier Field. I think the weather's, at least what I see, the conditions are great for football. Notre Dame's been just okay. They haven't been really good. They haven't been horrible because they've done just enough to win, right? They've maxed out their tight wire acts, guys. They really have. They can't survive another fall with the schedule moving forward, at least for the most part. So if I'm Notre Dame, Rob and Drew, here's what I do. I listen. Was the Badgers' Week 1 loss to the Nittany Lions, has it aged well? Meaning, do you believe that this is a really good Penn State team? If you do,
yes,
then
I do.
Then you like then that's really what it comes down to, in my opinion. And if I'm the Notre Dame coach, and I believe I could have done the job that he's done so far, I'm basically going to stack the box. I'm going to bring the safeties up. I'm going to put my corners on an island, and I'm going to say, throw the ball if you can, because I don't think you can. I like the Irish to cover for a second straight week.
Liking the Notre Dame Fighting Irish from Tony Finn. All right, I like it. Good one here on Soldier Field, kicking us off on Saturday, guys. This is a 12 noon Eastern kick, nationally televised game. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. For Robbie Vino, Tony Finn, I am Drew Martin. Guys, remember to check out WagerTalk Live Odds screen. We're talking about the numbers here, -6.5. That's Wisconsin, 46.5. Always important to get these good numbers when you're betting. Make sure to check it out to get the best of the number using the Live Odds tab at WagerTalk.com.